Hey, YouTube. So I went to watch roller derby. A friend of mine is on the Metro with Misfits. You'll figure it out pretty fast. It's Candy Crush. And so anyway, so this is the Dallas Expo Center. It is near our house. And this is sped up a little bit because you don't really want to watch like just all the intro stuff. But I've never been in here, and basically it's a bunch of different sports fields that are indoors, like they do soccer and basketball and um, roller derby apparently. In the basketball courts, they just put like tape on the ground and stuff. So there they are warming up. And then we'll get to the footage real quick. This is our friend here, Candy Crush. Here she comes, and she's on the right, obviously, and that's her right there. And so they have all these different positions in roller derby, but for the most part, the position that she has is basically like a running back in football. So basically, she tries to go around the track faster than the other person tries to go around the track, and essentially every time she goes around and laps like the other person, like they get like one more point than the other team gets. But if they both go around the track at the same speed, then they both get a point. And then pretty much everybody else on the team, from what I can tell, and I'm not like a professional like roller derby person, tries to prevent them from going around the track. So here they are here. When they start out, they go around the track. Each team goes around. Everybody cheers them on. They introduce like all the people on the team. So here they are going around. They do this kind of thing at the beginning of every roller derby game. They just go around, and she throws out candy because she's Candy Crush. But she threw out kind of like extra candy to us because she knew us. So anyway, they go around and around and around. At the very beginning, and then the other team will go around and around and around, but we don't care about that, so we'll just like kind of skip that, and then we'll actually get into the footage to show you like how roller derby actually works. And yeah, there they are. Yay, enemies. So they start there. One person, and it's determined by the hats. Like the helmets have a certain color or something. And so there's Candy Crush right there. So see how she got ahead, and there's like a person, like a referee pointing at her. That's like indicating like where she is, and like she'll just keep on going around and scoring points. And at some point she'll raise her hand or something, and that will basically indicate to stop because she's the one in front. And then there's another person in red. That's the counter one, and the counter one is trying to also keep up getting points on the lapping. So there she is. There's the other one, and so that tap out like that she did with like hitting her chest or whatever. That's the like, hey, stop the timer, like because she's the lead one. So anytime so hypothetically, like she could go around one time and then like tap it and say stop, and the other person would get like 0 points. But if she can go around say like 5 times and the other person only goes around 3 times, then they get like 2 points ahead. If that sort of makes sense. And they just keep on doing that like over and over and over again. But there are other like aspects to it too. So like her team tries to make openings for her to get her around, and then like her team also tries to like stop the other team. So watch another. I don't know if these are sprints or what they call these. I'm sure they have some fancy name for it. But you see the beginning, like right there, they're like doing a good job of blocking her, and then finally like she escapes. And in this particular case, I think the other person is ahead of her. Yeah, see the one in red is the one with the arrow, and Candy is just trying, but she sits down, right? Well, the reason why she sat down is because she got put in the box for doing something. So now it's turned kind of like hockey, where you can get thrown in the box if you like elbow somebody or whatever. And so they call that like a power run or something, kind of like in hockey where when you're down a goalie or down a player or whatever. And apparently the rules are really complex on like whether or not you can elbow somebody or like clothesline them or whatever. I don't really know that much about this game. But there you go. You can see she just basically broke through their line, and now the person's pointing at her, so she's in front again, basically getting points. And so, she's just basically trying to be like a running back, trying to get around other players, except she's on skates. And there is another one with the other color, and you can tell them apart by the hat, whether or not they have that like green hat. You can see like they're trying to make a little roadblock for her. and she's trying to have to like figure out how to get around their little roadblock. And I don't know where the other one is. Maybe the other one is in the box or something. But there is another one there, I'm telling you, that is in maroon, that has probably like a star or something on her helmet, or maybe she's in the penalty box. Um, and usually, like there's a referee or something pointing at the other person. But for every time she goes around and the other team doesn't get to, and see they're like trying to clothesline her or something. But and then the other thing is like you see like the black and white like on the ground. Like the black and white is like the edge. It's kind of like football the way you have the edge. If you step out, you have to go back and where you stepped out at, and then continue from there. It doesn't just like end the play like if they step out. So this is in Northern Virginia. This is like an adult league that you can play in. This is an all-female league, obviously, so you get to watch the girls kind of try to beat each other up. So here she is again. I'm going to try to point out things if I noticed anything. I'm like totally a noob. Like I watched this for like almost an entire hour until I started actually understanding the rules. Nor did I understand the rule book. And you try to like bump people out if you can, so then they have to go back. That's like one of the keys. And so there she is. She's in the penalty box for doing something. Like I'm not really sure. So at this point, like it's like hockey again. But then if you notice, the other player is in the penalty box. So all the blocking people are just standing around, just trying to figure out the best way to make a block, and then she has to go back in at a certain spot. And I guess they both got released nearly at the same time. So now it's a matter of which team had the and I don't know. Like the other team, I guess, doesn't know how to block or something because they had like a 20 seconds to set up like to block her, and she just like went right around them. So I'm not really sure um, if one team is like better than the other team. So you see how she had to kind of go back, like because she stepped out or something, or maybe she's going back to the box. I guess she's going back to the box. Yeah, she said that they recently changed the rules on the sport, and so before like you could like basically do almost anything you wanted, like elbow people and clothesline them and stuff, and then they tried to make the sport a lot more safe. So there's a other person that's going around, like the enemy team, and she's basically just going to keep on going around. There is a timer on each one of these sprints, so you can't just like indefinitely go around. I don't remember what the timer is, like if it's like 2 minutes or something like that. But the after the so many minutes, or you tap out. So if they think that Candy's going to get ahead of her or equal, then she'll tap out. So she tapped out because Candy got ahead of her, and she didn't want to let Candy get the point before she did. Right, so that like it's a little bit about timing too. If they can tap out like right before the other person crosses the line, then you're like a point ahead. Now there was like at this point, just like in football, I just like the coach or something like that threw the towel down, which was like, hey, I don't think that whatever that last ruling was accurate. And then the girls just kind of like in the background, you can see just like any other players find something to do with their time, and they're basically everybody's just waiting around while the referees try to figure out what happened, and then they announced afterwards like what it was, and I literally like completely didn't understand like what they were saying. But this is kind of like trying to watch like your first football game, I guess. Like where if you've never seen football before and you try to watch it, or you watch hockey for the first time, you've never seen it before. But yeah, there's a lot of this. It took the entire match took about I think 2 hours. I want to say roughly. We were here for a while, and they had a live band that played before the game, and then they had a live band that played during the halftime. But unfortunately, I can't really play the music from the band because that would flag like copyright infringements and stuff on the video itself. And I don't want to have like YouTube police like get mad at me or whatever. So they just like kind of go on and on and on, and then they make the decision. So I honestly don't even remember what the decision was. I could probably listen to the audio, but like I said, when they made the decision, I had no idea like what it was. So here she is again, going around. And you can see that they have the one ref that sits there kind of pointing at them. So really, like, even if you turn your head and you're not really sure like what's going on, you can always like look for the ref that has the arrow pointed at the person, and you know that's like the lead person, like that's kind of like in front that you need to pay attention to. Now, Candy didn't do all the sprints like in the video. It looks like she's doing all the sprints. I chopped down the video because it was like 2 hours in length, and now it's just like less than 20 minutes. So this is like more like a highlights reel of like our friend, and kind of ignoring like the other players a little bit. So it's a little bit of a biased video. But I mean, to be honest, and there she is. She's tapped out. You saw that thing like where she tapped her waist or whatever. That means like stop the sprint or whatever the heck they call this thing. So then the other person can't get any more points. And you try to do that like when you get tired or you know, when you think that it's a key point. So, like I said, they kind of go around over and over and over again. Um, the referee that's kind of going around, Mr. Magoo, that you see, he actually fell down like during this like badly during this event, and they actually had to pause the game for like 20 minutes um, while they tried to take care of him. And he ended up tapping out and having another ref take over. But we didn't like record like all that footage. But everybody was kind of happy that he ended up not being too badly hurt. So she had to run back to like where she went out. Like I was saying, like that's one of the rules that I know that I kind of finally figured out. But she still is in the lead because Mr. Magoo is pointing at her. And like she just went around the roadblock like, and like I don't know, like I don't really understand like what the other players are doing, because it seems like they should be like linebackers or whatever, like they should be like really blocking her, but she just sort of goes like right past them, and you know, she doesn't go out. Like they tried to push her out like they should have, but you know, she doesn't go out. And now they just kind of go back to where they are, and they try to hold their hands together and try to block her again. And then just like whammo jammo, she just gets them all to move a little bit. And then the ref tapped her helmet, so I'm guessing that means that maybe somebody tapped out. I don't know, or maybe they ran out of time. So here's the scoreboard. I'm going to pause the scoreboard for a second. They put on the scoreboard who the next person is, so you can see this was Vineyard Vienna, and you can see the Metro Misfits are up in the score. They end up winning. Like, you know, I don't really want to give it away, but they did win this game. They were way ahead at the halftime, and then they made some mistakes, and it kind of got close for a little while, and then they got way ahead again at the end. So I don't know if it was like they put their B players in, like, because they got so far ahead, or if they just started kind of slouching off, like on the last bit, because they had such a lead. They didn't want to make it so it was so like much of a blowout. So it seems like, I mean, the girl, you can't, it looks like you really can't go backwards. There's a score again now, it's like 152, 113. They can't really go backwards. It looks like you're only supposed to maybe go in one direction, just watching this over again. So that's maybe why the blockers just always like stand in the same spot, and they try not to move any farther forward than they have to. But like, I mean, she obviously broke free, and then obviously all the blockers just moved forward some. I'm not really sure even why they would even not just why they wouldn't just all stand at the starting position. But you saw how her team like opened it up for her, like her team basically hung out near the red ones, and then just like one half of them pushed forward, and they kind of did a pattern to let her kind of slip through. You kind of see that in football too, you know, where when a running back has to make the run, they leave like an opening for the running back, but the opening is only there long enough for the running back to get through. So I was saying she's kind of like a running back, the way that I saw it. So here she is again, and she tapped her chest or whatever, her abdomen or whatever. So that was like the end of that round. I guess she thought she was going to get through it. So this is roller derby. It's something that they do here in Dulles, which is like Northern Virginia. It's this particular location is kind of, if you look on a large map, it would be near Leesburg, Virginia, which is the general area where you can find the sports center. So I think this is the last sprint that I recorded as part of this video, and you can see that once again she's going around and around and around, collecting points, and it's all about her going around faster than the other team. That's how you make the points. They basically had two of these running backs, or whatever you want to call them, and they kept alternating back and forth between her and the other girl, and they both are doing really good. So, like, when they get to the end of the game, basically they do like the whole everybody, has to like shake hands, just like football, but they do it a little bit differently than football. I guess you don't really have to shake hands in football, but in most sports you do like the whole shake hands thing. So they go around the ring, and you can see here they are. They're going around the ring, and it's like both teams, and they slap everybody's hand, like high five. You high five everybody. That's Candy right there on the right with the thing on her eye. And so here's the whole team, and I'm assuming that one of these is probably going to be the coach too. And so pretty much both teams go around, and then they do a team picture also. So there's the coaches right there in back that are not on skates. And then here's a team picture that they did with the referees and both teams. And they're ripping the tape up basically as fast as they can, because they have to pay by the hour to the sports complex. So obviously they have to get all the tape up and everything and try to get out of here before they're charged like another hour. And in the end, I mean, everybody knows everybody. Even the referees are like players, but they're players, I guess, like in a different league, or retired players. I'm not really too sure. And then obviously you can always make cookies for the referees too, if you want them to remember who you are. And so these are the green cookies that she made for everybody. There's Kimberly there, and anyway, it was like a kind of a fun time to go out there and see our friend kind of beat up some other girls. So, if you want to join our team, I guess look up Metro Misfits in the DC area. I don't really know a whole lot about the rules, as you can tell, but with what you saw, that's basically what you'd expect out of like a typical game at roller derby. So anyway, this was just something that we did that was off and on the side. Obviously, we don't always take the Jeep out every single day of the week. Even actually, we only take it out about every other week, and the videos just kind of get spanned out. So anyway, please like and subscribe, and I'll get some more video stuff for you guys.